Well, welcome back to the Teed Up Golf Podcast. I'm joined by Lucas Herbert, the great man. I think you're a five-timer now on the Teed Up Pod. We haven't spoken on here since you joined LIV Golf, since the week after you joined LIV Golf. So, mate, it's good to have you back on.
Thanks, Q. It's good to be back on. Yeah, I was just thinking it's been a while since I've been on the program, so nice to poke my head back in.
Yeah, we went past you for a while there, but we've come back down to the level. So we thought we'll go back to the well and see if he's available.
Yeah, I don't want to go through a dams to see how many times you've asked me to come back on, but
Yeah, no, please don't do that. Please don't make them public knowledge. I'm not a freak. Mate, New South Wales Open on this week. It's playing at the Vintage Golf Club up there, just out of Newcastle. Mate, back to defend the title, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. We've been speaking about it the last 12 months with a few people. It's like when you win a tournament, you feel like you got to go back and defend. So, um, yeah, good opportunity to do that. Obviously, would love to get my name on the trophy, twice in a row there. But, I think part of the whole decision going to live as well was being able to get back and play more golf in Australia and, definitely try and build some bonds between the younger sort of generation that the next generation that are coming through and seeing where their games are at and seeing if we can help at all. So obviously Leash played the WA Open a few weeks ago. I'm playing the New South Wales Open next week. A few of the boys obviously playing Aussie Open, Aussie PGA, and then trying to get to Cathedral as well. So it's sort of another year where the lads are getting home and playing a bit of golf at home, which is nice.
Yeah, it's so cool. I was actually doing a bit of research for this pod, believe it or not, mate. And one of the quotes you had last year after winning, you said the impact that Cam had winning the Open had on Australian golf. You said, if I took away the selfish element of wanting to win and look back at the broader impact I can have on the Australian golf community in that sense, it's massive. So I guess what I'm getting at is, why do you guys come back and play them? Obviously, you need to get reps in because you haven't played for a while, but what do you love about coming back and playing the Aussie Tour?
Well, I know all of us love actually being home to begin with. We'll find any excuse to come back. So, that's one part of it. I think too, like I would say, I think for everyone, this is basically where, well, I can speak for me, Cam and Leash. Like this is where we got our start in professional golf. This is where we first played on tour. So to feel like we can come back and sort of give back a little bit, it definitely satisfying on at this end of our career where we can get the opportunity to do that. Um, I think as well, just trying to help build the game within Australia. I think we play so much overseas, particularly I think back to the PGA Tour, and we were doing a lot of building and growing the game in America, and it felt like I wish I could have a similar impact like this in Australia. Where it really means something to me. So um, the opportunity now to sort of get back to Oz, play some of these, some of the events that we wouldn't have played in years gone by, some of the state opens and that kind of thing. Um, it's a really good opportunity to be able to do that. And it was awesome last year at Murray Downs seeing, so many kids out there, seeing just the whole town come together for a week, for an event. And for Cam to be playing that, like I know it meant a lot to a lot of people, both in Golf New South Wales and the town of Swan Hill. So, seeing that impact's really special.
Yeah, mate, it was unbelievable. And I was over in Perth. I saw Leash up close and personal as to the impact he had over there with the kids. He was, 35 degrees or something. He's coming off playing a practice round. He's over doing a junior clinic, and it was just amazing to see. Even talking to a few of the players, like we talked to the eventual winner, Becca from South Africa, and Cam John and those guys, and they just said, like, the crowds were unbelievable. And it's something that you guys can have a huge impact on, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it's been interesting, like you said, with the crowds. I mean, it's awesome to see. I think Australian golf fans in general have been a bit starved of that really high level golf. Realistically, we've had two Presidents Cups in the last 15 years, and that's sort of all we've really had. We've struggled for fields at the outside of our homegrown talent. We've struggled for the strong fields. At our big Aussie events, just through various reasons. But I think with Liv coming along, and then also with us boys playing some of these state opens, people they're so excited to get out and see high level golf. And I'm almost waiting for when when the golfing public starts going, right, I've had enough now. We don't need to go and watch them because they come every year, but they seem to be still coming out in droves every year. So whilst they do that, we'll still keep coming back and playing.
Mate, it's amazing. Let's chat about last year. Yourself and Cam down the stretch. You closed with a 4 under 67. You began 4 shots behind the great man. And it was awesome to watch on tally. They did a great job in the broadcast. What was it like getting out there with, your fearless leader from Ripper GC and taking him on down the stretch?
Yeah, well, I think I was a group in front of him. I think I played with him the first 3 rounds and
Yeah.
managed to butcher it the back end of the round on Saturday to fall out of that final group. So it was a little bit frustrating because I would have loved to have gone head to head with him in the same group. Um, but yeah, I think like you said, must have started 4 shots back on Sunday, and I wasn't expecting much. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. You don't really want to give him any shots, let alone 4 to start the day. So um, I think when I didn't birdie the first, I was like, I don't think this is going to be our day. And it was pretty windy. I reckon we might have even had a slight delay in tee times before we teed off because they were struggling to keep balls on a couple of the greens. So yeah, it was sort of one of those days where you start 4 shots back, but it wasn't like I needed to go shoot 61 or 60 to catch him. A good solid round where you sort of pick off a couple of birdies here and there and just don't bogey the hard holes, and you're actually going to be not far away from it. So I think through about 5 or 6 holes, I might have been 1 under, still thinking I was probably a long way back. And the word I got from the group behind was Cam was 1 over. So now it's back to 2 shots, and then it felt like I was much more in the tournament. And I specifically remember birdieing 8, which was the pin was all the way back on a crown of a green it was a really tough pin and playing tough that day, and I made a really good putt for birdie, and that was kind of the one that got me going. It was, you sort of just needed a spark in that final round to make things happen, and that was kind of the one. So I remember making that. I think we birdied 9. We must have been pretty close to the lead at that point, and then then it felt like one of those tricky sort of battles around the back 9 where you don't really know what's going on behind you, so you kind of got to try and put a number out there to sort of give Cam something to chase, but also it's a bit of a cat and mouse game. You're not really sure, whether to be aggressive or to play a little safer.
Yeah, mate, it was unbelievable. You made a decision on the Saturday night after you said you sort of fell away Saturday Arvo to go back, change putter, which is something I do regularly, probably more often than I change underwear. What's take the average punter inside the thought process behind that? Because we all do it. Like I played with 3 blokes yesterday, and we've all gone straight on a golf box and had a look at putters when we got home. Tell us the thought process behind that. You've gone back to the trusted blade is here in the quotes.
Yeah, not quite. So we changed. So we played obviously first 2 rounds, played really nicely, but sort of felt like maybe a little late in the round on Friday. We were struggling a little bit. I focus a lot on sort of the face rotation with my putter. So I use a face balance putter. But I like to practice with something that's got a little bit more toe hang to help me sort of feel the face rotate. So I pretty much travel to every tournament with some kind of putter that's got a little bit of toe hang just to do some work on you might hit some putts on a Tuesday on the practice green, or maybe in the practice round if we're not playing a match, putting out to a hole, you're just sort of hitting a lot of putts around. I like using it for that as well. So we finished the round Friday, and it's sort of Dom was caddying. We sort of spoke to each other like, do you think maybe we should just hit a few putts with the toe hang putter? And we sort of hit a few, and we were like, yeah, that actually feels quite nice. Maybe let's use it tomorrow. So it seemed like a pretty radical decision to change for Saturday, but it wasn't necessarily anything we would have done the same thing if we were 15th or 30th or whatever. So I think everyone else saw it as a bit of a crazy decision, but we didn't. So and then I definitely struggled a little bit on Saturday. Obviously, there's a lot of difference between using that putter on the practice green and then using it when you're actually trying to hold putts in a tournament. So it was a little different, and I think we got out of it what we needed to, which was I felt like I had a better awareness of the face rotation through the stroke. So then it was like we came off the golf course on Saturday and grabbed the other one straight out the car and started putting with that, and we're like, cool, that's going straight back in tomorrow. So it seemed like a bit of a radical decision, but I guess we were prepping to play the Aussie PGA the following week, the Aussie Open the following week after that. for us, the Aussie Open is such a big event now with, now having two major exemptions, but last year having one, a spot in the British Open. It was pretty important to play well there, given our limited chances to do that on LIV. So
Yep.
that was what we were kind of prepping for. Yeah, it's makes for a bit of a story though.
Yeah, well, I loved it. I thought, I might think about a bit more about when I change putters next. I got no idea why I changed them. Just doesn't. It's always the putter's fault, Herbert.
Hey, sometimes that's a fair enough excuse too.
Yeah, jeez, the bank balance does not enjoy it. Anyway, mate, second year of LIV Golf is now complete for you. It's been amazing to watch you sort of grow and, in golf, the Aussie public with what you guys have done on Ripper GC, especially since you joined. LIV season 2 is now wrapped up for you. What's your reflection on last year? You had a great start and had a bit of a lull and then sort of came back hard again at the end.
Yeah, good reflections in 2025. I had it in my mind I was going to have a pretty big off season, the end of 2024, start of 2025 to get ready for this season, and did a really good job. I thought I was really proud of the way I did my off season, and the first 7 events kind of reflected that. I thought I played probably the best golf of my career in that stretch. Obviously, we won in Japan. Finished second in Mexico, a couple of fourth place finishes as well. I think we were fourth on the standings at the midpoint of the season. So I was really proud of the way that I played there. And then I think we learned a lot of stuff from the second half of the year in terms of mistakes that we made that didn't allow us to play well enough. There was some fleeting highlights there through that time. I did play some good golf. I just couldn't put it together for 3 rounds for us. So definitely some takeaways from that towards the end of the season. Definitely around some fitness stuff, and I probably over practiced a little bit when I found a bit of a form slump when we came back in Virginia. So probably over practiced, got myself into a state where I was just fatigued and couldn't really get it back. So yeah, a lot of takeaways going into next year. I think working pretty hard on the fitness. Now that we're 4 rounds next year, we're going to have to be fitter and be able to deal with that strain better than obviously I have this year with only 3 rounds. So yeah, a lot of focus on that sort of stuff to be able to make it all the way through the season and try and finish higher up the order of merit than we did this year.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. The 4 round stuff, I wanted to chat to you about that. It's taken the golf world by storm over the last few days since the announcement. What does it mean to you? What does it mean? Like, how did that come about? Can you take us inside? Is there a vote? What happened there? And, are you excited about it, or what's your take on it?
Yeah, I can probably speculate a little bit. I wasn't involved in obviously the decision making, and
Smart.
To be honest, yeah, to be honest, mate, like I've stayed well away from everything since the season's ended because you come back to Australia and you've got mates and people in the public left, right, and centre asking you about what's going to happen next year, whether it's like who's on the team or where we're going to play or are we going to get world ranking points, are the PGA Tour going to merge, all these sort of questions. And I feel like if I don't know the answers, it's actually a lot easier to talk to people about it than if I do and I've got to kind of lie. So I have stayed away from it a fair bit since the end of the season, but we had a player Zoom call on Wednesday morning, our time here, which was basically at the end of the Zoom call. That was when they announced that we'd be going to 72 holes. So, I mean, they're going pretty hard for the world ranking points. I know that. I think we've got a good chance to get them. I think now we're showing more of a clearer pathway as to how to get onto LIV, both through the promotions event, through the international series, and then obviously selection, I guess, from team captains. So there's a little bit clearer of a pathway, whereas I think it was a little bit more of a closed shop going back 18 months.
Yep.
Now obviously playing 72 holes, I think it's now very comparable to basically every event in the world that does have world ranking points. I think all you could pull out of it is that we don't have a cut. There's only going to be 57 players playing next year, so I don't think there's a need to have a cut. And I think the LIV business model, I guess, or one of the benefits about it is, you've got a young daughter, Q. She loved golf and she wanted to see Brooks Koepka play at Adelaide next year, and you could only get there for the weekend. You know that he will be teeing off at 11:15 on Sunday, or I'm not sure on the exact tee time, but he'll be teeing off whenever we tee off on Sunday. He'll be there. You can take her out for 4 hours. It's not a whole day thing to sort of have to figure out, how to watch two or three players that she wants to watch. Um, and that's the gold of the product, I think. So, um, I think no cut probably works for us at the moment with the field size that we have. Um, I think strategy wise, from a 72 hole point of view as well, I think when it was 54, you're almost treating every round like a Monday qualifier. You couldn't play much conservative golf. You were definitely more aggressive than you would ordinarily be. I think over 72 holes, there'll be more of an opportunity to, you'll have one bad round. You'll have a round that you don't quite have all your stuff. And there's a skill in being able to like still shoot a great score whilst you don't have your best stuff. And I think you're going to get a better showcase of that with 72 holes than maybe you do with 54. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it
Yeah.
all. I'm not sure exactly how the decision was made. I know that they're angling pretty hard on world ranking points because they want more of the guys that are on LIV to be playing the majors. Definitely guys that deserve it. I don't think it's not as if 57 players from the tour all deserve to be playing majors, but I do think, if you look back through this year, there was a lot more players than end up playing the majors that definitely deserve to be playing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with you, mate. And it is definitely set up for the consumer. Rick Shields, we had him on the pod over in Adelaide, actually, and he just said, LIV Golf is awesome because if you want to see Phil Mickelson, you want to see Brooks, you want to see Bryson, you want to see Lucas Herbert play, you're going to see him play, which is,
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
the beauty of the product set up for us to watch, which is amazing. Mate, what's been your highlight from your 2 years on LIV Golf? You got one memory?
Um, Man, I've had a lot of really cool experiences in my 2 years. I am very, very grateful every day for the opportunities that we've gotten through LIV, like whether it's events that we've got to attend, people we've got to meet. I mean, um, I was lucky enough to play the pro-am with John George from Rufus to Seoul. I think I'm going to see them now 5 times this year, pretty much off the back of meeting him in one of the pro-ams because I'm
He's
just
in Australia
obsessed.
right now, yeah?
He is, yeah, and he's obsessed with golf. I'm obsessed with him. It's the perfect match at the moment. So I'm just injecting Rufus to Soul music into my veins at the minute. I got to throw a first pitch at a Detroit Tigers baseball game, which
Saw
was,
that.
I think back to when I was a kid playing school sport here in Bendigo, um, on the oval. Like if you told me that I'd be throwing a first pitch at a baseball game, I'd be like, you're kidding me. There's no way that's ever going to happen. So just there's been so many really cool experiences that I've gotten like that I just never would have gotten,
Mm.
I don't think, without LIV Golf. And like that's been the stuff that I feel so grateful for that kind of thing.
No, it's amazing what it's doing, mate, for the Aussie golf landscape as well, bringing us all in. Mate, the Aussie Open this year, it's at Royal Melbourne. You played at the Asia Pacific Amateur back in 2014 there on the composite course. It's the last time, I guess, or it's not the last time, but the last time you played there, there's been a big golf tournament. Looking forward to it. Good field. What's your memories from playing the composite?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal golf course. I think they've played it in about 6 different orders, so it's funny trying to work out which hole's which, but you obviously know them without putting a number to which hole they are. So I feel like I know the course quite well. I'll have to dig out my yardage book from 10 years ago to see what notes I've got left in there to have a look at. But yeah, phenomenal tournament venue. I think it's the pedestal for Australian golf, isn't it? When you talk about the sandbelt to people that are not from Melbourne, pretty much the first golf course that comes up is Royal Melbourne. Um, we saw how amazing it was for the President's Cups, both in 2011 and 2019. So I think it'll be a great test. The field looks very, very strong. I've had players messaging me asking for help to get invites, and speaking to the tournament directors, they're like, we are genuinely really struggling to find, more spots to get these guys in because, so many international players have wanted to come out and play this year, which is amazing because I think we've been begging for that for a long time now to have our National Open be an event that people really, really care about. So it's been great to see everyone kind of work together. It's, with Augusta National offering an invite to the Masters for the winner. I think, they've come to the party there unbelievably well.
Mm.
Obviously, I think with a LIV Golf schedule now, it makes it so much more accessible for these guys to come out and play. for the PGA of Australia and Golf Australia, sort of working through all the logistics of that event to make it an unbelievable event to attract the players and you know, the notoriety from Augusta National as well. I just think everyone's done a great job to build this tournament up again into something that we all talked about as like an enigma for 20 years about how good the Australian Open used to be. It
Yeah.
feels like we're starting to get back towards a time where that's becoming a thing again.
Yeah, mate, it's going to be amazing. Obviously, Rory headlining, and with what he's done this year, it's going to be awesome. If you do want tickets, I'm going to give him a plug. $40 for a day pass for Thursday, Friday, 45 for the weekend, or you can get a 4-day pass. My tip's to get the practice round pass for early in the week. You can actually get out and watch these guys hit some shots that they might not get the opportunity to hit throughout the weekend. Mate, you got married.
I did, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
To the
you.
wonderful, beautiful Erica, mate. Congrats. But one challenging thing I have not quite got my head around is you had Pugh Dog in charge. How was all that?
Pugh Dog, the on-course caddy and the off-course caddy. Reverend Pugh delivered the marriage vows, which was, well, I mean, we did the vows, but he was officiating it.
Yeah,
Is that the
correct.
word? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it was actually Erica's suggestion. I didn't.
Wow.
Very quickly agreed to it. I thought it was an amazing decision, but I wouldn't have been suggesting it myself. I thought the Pew Dog was too close to me for that to be a thing. But she suggested it to me. So yeah, we I think he had a bit of a panic moment when we sat him down. It's like, mate, we need to talk to you. And I think all the
Oh,
thoughts of like, am I getting sacked? What's going on? And I was like, mate, we want you to be the reverend at our wedding. Very, very odd request, but I think he was so happy to do it. We had a great time for a few days. There was 10 of us, including Erica and I, at the actual wedding, which was
perfect.
really, really special. We actually had a great day where we had dinner with like on one table with everyone um, for the day. Yeah, it was very, very special. And um, I think not that I thought it was going to be a bad day. I just probably thought it was going to be a bit more of like, oh, it's just another day. But it was a lot better than I probably had built it up to be in my mind, which was really, really special. I got great memories from it.
Well, mate, congrats. And yeah, yourself and Peaky have a great story there with the off
We
photo swap too.
we do have a great story with that. Do the listeners know about it? We should get Peaky on here to tell this story because I feel like
Peaky told it post New Zealand win.
I was going to say because like
He
I
sent me
feel
the
like
photo
I'm
of the
just
photo.
I feel like I'm just telling the story secondhand. He's yeah. I
Yeah.
talked him at the Open. I was like, "What's the go with this photo?" And he told me, and I was like, "That's one of the best stories I've ever heard."
So funny. That's not me. It's Herbie. Oh, good. We'll clip that up and put it in here for everyone to have a listen to Peaky telling it. It's from his
hundred
side of
percent.
things. But mate, thanks so much for giving us some time. Good luck this week at the New South Wales Open, and we'll see you down here for the Aussie Open in a couple of weeks.
No worries. Thanks, Huey. Thanks for having me on again.
Thanks, mate.